So what if I told you there's a place on the border of LA and Orange County where you can buy a 4-bedroom house for $950,000 when literally just a few blocks that way, you can buy the same house of the same size for 1.2. Well, that's what we're looking at right here at my new listing. And the cool thing about this community is that it has some of the top rated schools. It has one of the largest cultural districts in all of Southern California, and the community is genuinely great. But the secret that people don't even realize yet is that there are transportation changes happening in real time. They're gonna blow the secret wide open. It's gonna change the value. But before that happens, let's take a look inside and we can talk about all the other details in just a little bit. Let's get into it. Okay, come on in, what are you waiting for? So what you are walking into right now is 18403 Devlin Avenue, right here in Artesia. We're at a 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom house sitting on a nearly 5,000 square foot lot. The home itself is just over 1,800 square feet. And when you sit down, when you walk in, the first thing you notice is that this place is open, it's airy, it's bright. And I think one of the coolest defining features of this home is that there are 3 distinct living spaces between the dining, the kitchen, and the living room that are all distinct, but they're still very open. And right now you could just cut right through here, right through from the dining or the walking area into the kitchen with the big island where the command center is. Everything is connected, but you still have a space where everyone can kind of do their own thing. And then of course, when we get to the bedrooms, the master bedroom, it's spacious, it has its own ensuite. The other bedrooms are also modest in size. The backyard has a nice little area for a barbecue and just to hang out. So you're getting a lot for a really great price, especially with everything that you have around it. And we are going to talk about that later in the video, in addition to the thing that most buyers are missing. And that is the transportation changes that are going to inevitably change the value of this community and of course, this home. We'll see you over there. Okay, quick pause before we get back into the video. All that to say, if this kind of neighborhood breakdown and property tours are useful to you, go ahead and subscribe to this channel because we do deep dives just like this one every single week on different LA neighborhoods and the current market prices and really everything that's going on in the communities. Restaurants, all the stuff that you would want to know if you were considering living there. It's the kind of local insight like this that really, I think, makes the difference in adding the right kind of color that maybe you didn't have access to when you're going through the house hunting process. So go ahead and follow this channel and we will get back into it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys why I think Artesia's location is one of its secret strengths and how this small city really does offer advantages that you don't find in other neighboring neighborhoods. For one thing, Artesia really sits in a perfect spot. It's surrounded by some of LA County's most expensive cities, yet it still maintains its affordability. So let's look at it on a map and you'll see that Artesia is between Cerritos on 3 sides and then Norwalk to the north. And you'll get direct access to a few freeways. You got the 605, you got the 91, and it really puts you about 15 minutes or so from other major job centers in the LA County area. And this advantage really gets overlooked because bigger cities oftentimes take the spotlight. And you know, this is good news for smart buyers, especially when people are just hyper-focused on Cerritos or Lakewood. They miss the benefit of something like Artesia. Again, we've talked about walk scores and I don't like to go too far into them, but one of the benefits of Artesia is that it does have a great walk score. And I think part of the reason for that is that there is a lot of restaurant and retail that are really close to where the other homes in the community are. So these are things that smart investors take notice of and really smart homeowners. And when you think about daily life here, the fact that you can walk to restaurants, shops, community events, your kids can safely ride their bikes in the front yard or in the streets around it, you get the community feel that come with, you know, what feels like the perks of living in a city. And really as part of the Gateway Cities region, Artesia has a really strong infrastructure without the high price tag. And you know, the city built a very walkable downtown area while keeping the neighborhoods full of character. And I think this is what most people wouldn't really know to tell you about, because especially when you think about where things are, and where things are going to be by 2035, there's going to be a tremendous value change because the location of Artesia is one of the reasons why it stands out. I think the other interesting thing here is when we walk down Pioneer Boulevard, and you're going to see a cultural experience that you wouldn't get anywhere else in Southern California. So a few blocks of Pioneer Boulevard have really grown into one of Southern California's most authentic cultural districts, and it draws people from all over the region, even all over the country in some instances. And between 183rd and 188th, Pioneer Boulevard is home to one of the largest Indian communities in all of Southern California. And it's not just restaurants and strip malls like you might think, because there are over 120 Indian-owned businesses here. And they bring in upwards of 25% of the city's total sales tax, and that's a huge impact. So when you walk down Pioneer Boulevard, it really feels like you've been transported. You'll find restaurants one side of the street serving traditional dishes, jewelry shops that are selling handcrafted pieces from India on another side, markets full of spices and ingredients that you won't find anywhere else in LA County. So this is a big part of what's going on here and why it's considered the economic and cultural hub that it is. And then when you think about Diwali, during that time, thousands of people come from all over Southern California and outside of that just to join the celebration. So this kind of cultural richness is directly tied to why people flock here. And by the way, we're going to talk a little bit more about how strong schools in this area, along with the global awareness of this community, are a big draw for why people want to come here. But we'll get to that in a minute. But also, Indian Independence Day feels like you are really being transported into Mumbai. The streets are filled with music, traditional dancing, bright colors. Again, it's not just like a business center and a couple of shops. This is definitely something that highlights cultural preservation, and a lot of families choose to live in this area not only because of the cultural impact, but also because of the schools. Like I said, we'll get into that in a little bit. But since we're talking about the incredible culture here and how restaurants are oftentimes tied to that, I felt like I would be remiss if I did not give you guys a deeper or closer look into what makes it so special. So I decided to sit down with the owner of Bhooke Restaurant, Anshul. What a great guy. He is a co-owner of the restaurant with his wife, and Bhooke has been known to be one of the standout restaurants in all of this area. It was even highlighted by the LA Times as being one of the top Indian restaurants to eat in all of LA. So it has authentic food specific to a region in India. But on top of that, I thought it was really interesting because I inevitably got a lesson about the importance of authenticity through the owner's experience bringing the restaurant to life. So let's look at the food, let's look at the conversation, and we'll get into that next. Anshul, thank you so much for having me here today. You, in my opinion, you're like pretty much the next best thing to the mayor of the Artesia region. I wish. Because so many people are talking about you in your restaurant. I think you just said something that was really important. You said authentic food, and that's what I learned about you guys as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you more about that, but while we're doing that, can you show me how I get started with this? Do we start with the roti? Do we start?
I mean, it's the same thing. Like these are the breads. Like those two are the regular breads, which in a different shape of the breads.
Okay.
Then these are the curries, just like other stuff, like even the regular food. You use the bread, and you have to use just with the hands. If you want to have the real taste,
okay,
you have to eat this food with the hands.
Do you tell your clientele that come in how to do
I prefer. I mean, we don't try to improvise them with their like. Oh, no, you have to eat with the hand. But we make sure if they ask us, we prefer to tell them, like, if you want to taste the food, go with the hands on it.
Okay. So we're going to eat with our hands today?
Please.
So I use, what's this?
Yeah, this is bati.
The bati?
Okay. Regular bati without any taste.
Okay.
I mean, just a regular taste of ghee. And you can dip it.
Okay. And what kind of curry am I eating here?
This is lentil. These are like curry of lentils.
Okay.
Just like other Ethiopian foods. This is lentil curry. Then you have chickpea curry. Then this is yogurt curry.
The lentil curry is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me a little about the taste, because what I learned about you guys is that part of what sets you guys apart is the authentic regional taste that you guys offer. So what makes your restaurant a little different in terms of the taste that you guys are bringing to?
Actually, we never try to improvise the food or Americanize this food, you can see these plates, the leaf plates, the bowls. These are the way how we eat back in India, in the villages. this is what we do. They are eco-friendly. Sorry?
This is as authentic as it's going to get here.
I mean, it's like, I would say it's 90% as we can do the authentic, because we cannot just run the open fire because of the local authority.
Within reason.
Because of the rules and regulations. But if these parties, they are supposed to get cooked on like open fire pits. They, the ashes and everything. Yeah.
Which one's this one, by the way?
This is the yogurt curry.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, this is clearly authentic food, and it tastes delicious. What's your favorite food here?
Me, honestly speaking, I mean, I love everything.
Okay.
What do you order?
Something though.
The yogurt curry and with rice. This is my best combination.
Am I doing it right? I'm just dipping it with the bati?
Yeah, you need to start licking your fingers.
Oh man,
but dip them all.
Okay, I like it. So I want to just also learn a little bit more about kind of the impact that you make into the community. Do you feel like you get a chance to interact with the people around here? Like, do you see the same people coming by? Are you seeing more new customers?
The first thing you asked me, like how we are,
how the impact
the community. I mean, people started getting, as soon as we open up the restaurant, we were flooded like anything. We were waiting in the outside in the line for maybe at least good 30 minutes. Because until now, I think we are the first proper Indian restaurant. Everyone says like, yes, we are proper Indian restaurant, we are authentic. But still they try to improvise somehow, But as soon as people are coming inside and they taste the food and they see these leaf plates, they can, any Indian can tell you that this food is authentic, because
this is so good.
This is real authentic food.
I don't have the context to know about the authenticity, because but what I can tell you though is that even if you're saying it doesn't compromise on authenticity, it also does not compromise on taste, because this is really delicious.
No. Believe me, I'm telling you. The first thing when we opened up the store, everyone told us like you need. I shared my idea with everyone that we are trying to keep the taste as original as possible, the way we do in the villages. Everyone said like, no, you're gonna get failed. And believe me, not even a single person told me yes, you should go ahead and to keep the taste. I was sure about that day. If they will not like it, if they don't want the real taste, I will close down the restaurant. But I will not compromise with my idea that I want to give the real taste of the food which we do back in India.
You know what I like about what you just said, which is honestly kind of a lesson for all of us, which is you should never compromise the things that you believe in. And when you are willing to be authentically yourself, I think the world will make room for you. And let me just say one more thing before we wrap this up. One thing that people might not know just by seeing this is that from the second I first walked in, I felt the hospitality. And that comes across in the way that you engage your customers. I'm just someone you met today, really, for the first time in person, but the hospitality has been unmatched. And I think that's another aspect of what makes the food and experience what it is.
Let's say my son is sitting there. What we teach them, I was taught as a kid, like you have to be, frank with the people. You have to be the one who is breaking the ice always. You have to greet the people as even in enemies. Believe me, if you will see the stories from Rajasthan, even we greet the enemies like they are our real brothers and sisters,
It's all love. You feel the love when you come in here. You'll definitely taste the great food. So if you are in the Artesia area, please make sure you stop by.
Please listen to him.
Can you say the restaurant name again? Bhooke?
Bhooke.
Please stop by Bhooke. Authentic food, good food, and most of all, good people.
Please listen to him.
So Anshul, thank you so much. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much.
And the best part, or one of the best parts rather, is that people drive from all over Southern California just to eat here and to be a part of the community, while the locals here, and really our listing, for example, is just a 10-minute walk to this restaurant. This is the kind of lifestyle advantage that you can't really measure in dollars, but it does play a part in why people choose to be in Artesia, to have the good schools, to have the cultural hub, and access to restaurants and things like this. But what's also interesting is that before all of this, before Artesia was known to be Little India, it was actually considered dairy country. And it was built by the Portuguese and Dutch farmers. And that history that it started with still shapes the community today. So Artesia's Portuguese roots really built the base for the community that we see today. And this history really matters if you want to understand how Artesia got the sense of belonging that it's developed today. So before Pioneer Boulevard became a cultural hub, Artesia was a dairy country. And Portuguese and Dutch farmers, they ran one of those top dairy districts in Southern California. And in the 1920s and the 1930s, farming was really a big part of what shaped the local traditions here. Many of them actually still exist today. Artesia has this Portuguese hall that was founded in 1927, and it's still to this day a place where families meet for events and celebrations. Each year they have this festival that brings people together. There's Portuguese food, there's folk dancing, they have religious traditions that have been passed down for generations. And I think what's interesting is that while it is a draw for people, it's not really tourism, because there are a lot of living traditions that are kept by families who have been here for decades upon decades. And later when we talk about the housing market, you're going to see how this deep connection really does play a part in helping to shape the stability that's here. And it's part of the reason why it helps protect the investment in ways that oftentimes new developments can't. Landmarks also, like the Artesia Tower, the water tower, they also link back to the artesian wells that gave the city its name. The Artesia Historical Museum, it's a restored Spanish-style home that keeps artifacts and stories from both farming years and changes that followed. All that to say, there is a lot of rich history here. It makes sense why this is a cultural hub like we were talking about. But the Portuguese community has really done a good job of maintaining their traditions, while at the same time Indian families who kind of immigrated and came here in the 1980s and 1990s have really done the same things. But it's cool to see when there's like shared values that come here. So the diversity is not surface level, okay? There's cross collaborations between both communities. And I think this community would be great for families who value multiple cultures, who want to have their kids speak multiple languages, who want to have them get exposure to a bunch of unique cultures. It's global in a sense, while your roots are still rooted in America. So now that you've seen the foundation, let's talk about what this means for your daily life. And I will show you the community experiences that you also won't find in other nearby cities. Okay, so now let's take a look at what the daily life in Artesia feels like, what it looks like, and why people from nearby cities come here for things that locals can walk to. In other cities, you might drive 20 minutes for a cultural event. In Artesia, like we've talked about, they're right outside your door, walkable. The annual International Street Fair and Diversity Festival, that is a great example of that because it really helps to bring together community. And during that time, Pioneer Boulevard closes off to cars, the streets fill up with food from many different cultures, not just Indian, live music, families from across LA County, and you won't find this mix anywhere else. Parks here are also great because they show the city's cultural roots. Artesia Park has sports fields and playgrounds and also hosts cultural festivals during the year. AJ Paddleford Park is a great neighborhood space where families meet and connect. By the way, later we're going to talk about the city's transportation future, which I think is one of the most critical parts about what's happening here. But like I said, the parks here plus the Southeast Transportation Gate Line is going to make a world of difference in how people view the value in the Artesia area. You're here early. So among other things, I would say Artesia has two big things going for it. And they make this a great place to live right now, and they make it a smart bet for the future. First, the schools are great. The ABC Unified School District is ranked one of the top school districts in California. It has an A+ grade. Patricia Nixon Elementary gets A from great schools. Whitney High School is ranked amongst the top schools, high schools in the country. And here's the thing, when you combine top schools with a rich cultural environment like we've been talking about, and you get to see a place where you get to give kids a very global perspective. That's something that we'll also see reflected in the home prices when we get to the market data. But now, when we talk about the other big advantage that I was talking about, this one cannot be overlooked, and it's transportation. And we are really at the inception because the Southeast Gateway Line is about a $5 billion light rail project. It's about 14 miles long. It's gonna connect directly to downtown LA in about 35 minutes. The target year is 2035, and construction just started in October of 24. They received a over $200 million state grant for it. Just picture this, okay? Right now, driving to downtown LA can take an hour plus depending on traffic, okay? Sometimes even 90 minutes. With the light rail, it's 35 minutes, no traffic, no parking fees, no sitting stop and go. when that rail line opens, I expect Artesia home prices to jump up at least 10, 15, 20% in the following years. If you buy before that's done, you will get to take advantage of today's lower prices than when it opens, okay? But don't take my word for it, all right? Let's pull out the housing market data and then look at the numbers, and we will see how Artesia might be one of LA County's smartest plays right now, especially when you consider the property values all around it. Okay, let's break down the numbers here so you can really see why Artesia is one of LA County's most, like I would say, undervalued markets, and why people who are able to look into the future, but also have the right alignment of what it offers now, why they're taking advantage of it. So the median home value is just shy of $900,000. Prices grow about 4 or 5% every year. And that's faster than inflation, for one thing. So it does give you some good context. Homes sell in around 30 days on average. You know, that's quick, but it's not always necessarily with the kind of super hyper competitive bidding wars that you see in more higher priced areas or other more popular areas. Here's where it gets interesting. In Cerritos, you will see prices going up to the 1.2, 1.3 range. And, you know, again, Artesia is surrounded by Cerritos. So it's kind of interesting because, you know, you get the security of being an established neighborhood plus the growth potential of, you know, not only the upcoming light rail, but everything else that's happening around it. The housing stock adds another advantage. Many homes are built in the 1940s, 50s. So really homes with solid bones, solid construction. Some homes even built in the 80s, 90s even. But again, this is, you know, kind of just the big picture kind of fabric of Artesia. Property taxes here, you know, the standard around 1.25%. But, you know, all that to say, even with taxes, even with insurance, all the upkeep, all the other costs, this is a accessible price point for people who are looking to take advantage of an area that has reasonable cost of living compared to the national average. And also, again, slightly cheaper to get in for this type of home with these kind of schools in this kind of area. So kind of saving on the premium price tag, but still has access to all of that. And again, looking at the comparison, Cerritos is, or even Lakewood, same size home, same size lots, but you're kind of paying a lot more. Norwalk, on the other hand, a little bit further north, is cheaper, but it doesn't offer some of the same things that Artesia does between the walkability, the cultural vibe, all of that. So Artesia is a great option for the right person. And if you are looking to have your money stretched just a little bit while still getting all of these amazing things that we talked about between the amenities, the schools, the cultural influence, and the upside of the potential future appreciation when the red line opens, I think this could be a great move for you. Now, I want to walk you through exactly how to take advantage of this before everyone else catches on. Okay, so here is exactly what you need to do. This is the playbook. Okay, are you ready? Get your pen out. And if you are interested in exploring Artesia properties, or if you want a private tour of our listing, send us an email at tedrosteam@gmail.com. Okay, you got that? Or you can send us a text at 562-554-7534. Look, I want to help you guys navigate this market and really find the perfect home in your perfect neighborhood, whether it's this or another one. And I don't want you guys to miss out on what could be the right opportunity for you. The rail construction, like I said, is underway. Smart buyers are really taking notice of this and how it impacts different places in Los Angeles and what that means for them. You know, there are a lot of hidden gems and there are a lot of things to consider. And that's part of what we like to do when we are helping buyers and sellers navigate. By the way, if you want to learn more about LA County and some of the cool neighborhoods there, we made a video, which you should be able to click on, where we really go deep on a bunch of the neighborhoods and what makes them special, and really how to avoid making a mistake that can cost you thousands, hundreds of thousands. So check that out. Check that out if you haven't. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel because we feel so strongly about helping sellers, helping buyers make the most of really their process. We want to offer you our strategy, and it comes from a place of caring. We want to put our people first in how we help them make sense of what the right move is for them, using our expertise. So if that's you, make sure to reach out. And if you're still feeling like you're early, you can reach out, but at the very least, follow along here so you can get a better sense of what we're about, what we do, because we release videos every single week. We dive deep into all different parts of Los Angeles County, and we go into a bunch of different neighborhoods, all for the purpose of offering you guys value as we help you guys believe for more. Peace.